Things are evolving quickly in the city, and it appears that we finally have a plan for school reopening. And so this meeting is to tell you what our plan is. I want to start by introducing our panel, starting with our principal, Fan Ingram.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to a fantastic school year this year.
Our former Director of Curriculum and Instruction, who has since been promoted to our Assistant Principal, Pamela Falcon.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Excited to start a great year.
Our Director of Math Instruction and third grade programming, Amia Johnson.
Good evening, everybody.
Our Director of ELA Instruction and Pre-K3, Pre-K4, and Kindergarten Programming, Lakia Edwards.
Good evening, everybody.
And our Special Ed Coordinator, Tiffany Johnson.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
So this should not be a really long meeting, but we do want to let you know what's going on since the last meeting. We're going to go back and share my screen. And as we go through this meeting, you can put your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat box. You might want to wait until we get to the end of the presentation because some of the questions that you may have might be answered as we go through this slide deck. So as most of you probably know, Mayor Muriel Bowser made an announcement on July 30th, and she indicated that she was going to have DC Public Schools open remotely starting August 31st. She also made a recommendation that all public charter schools in DC follow that same schedule and begin with 100% remote learning. And so that's what we are doing. We're going to start on Monday, August 31st with 100% remote learning. All of the learning would take place online. And that will continue through November 6th, at which time the city will reassess its health status to determine whether we can open safely for students to come in the building. We are going to provide you with your child's teacher's name next Friday. So that's August 21st. You will know your child's teacher's name. And then we want you to have an opportunity to meet your child's teacher remotely, one-on-one, not with a group of parents, but just you and your child and the teacher. So we're planning to have Zoom meetings for you and your child's parent. Your teacher will reach out to you during the last week of August to set that up. Again, it's going to be a Zoom meeting, not in person, but that'll be an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you might have and to have your child have the opportunity to meet his or her teacher. So what we're planning to do, because we want to really acclimate our boys and girls to this type of learning, which is very different for all of us. And it will take some adjustment for our children to feel comfortable with it. You know, they usually get to see their teacher every day and interact with their teacher. And so they build this great relationship because they're in the building, in the classroom together. And that's not going to happen, at least not happen at the beginning of the school year. So to begin slowly, what we're going to do is for the first 3 weeks of school, we're going to have the teachers meet with the children via Zoom in groups of 5 or less. So for those first 3 weeks, your child will have about 30 minutes with his or her teacher in the morning and then we'll have some afternoon follow-up activities. And that's so that the teacher can get through all of the approximately 25 students in the classroom in small groups. They will use that time to get them to know their children, to help them learn how to use the technology and navigate the digital platforms that we're planning, and to give the children a little opportunity to get to know one another in a smaller setting. After those first 3 weeks, then we're going to go right into our regular instruction for virtual learning. And that includes synchronous learning, which is actual real-time learning with the teacher interacting with the children for 3 hours from 2 or 3 hours from 9 to 11 or from 9 to 12 every day, Monday through Friday. And then in the afternoon will be your child's opportunity to do follow-up activities that the teacher has assigned based on the instruction that the teacher provided in the morning. We're doing a 2-hour lunch break instead of a 1-hour lunch break because on certain days of the week, we are going to have bulk lunch pickup prepared so that you can come and pick up your child's breakfast and your child's lunch. So the lunch break will be from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. So there are 3 basic platforms that we're going to be using for your children. The first one is Zoom, and that's what we're on now, and that's what we've used throughout the spring and for our parent meetings throughout the summer. So the synchronous learning, which would be the time when your child can actually talk to the teacher and the teacher can respond, that will be done through Zoom. The other major platform that we're going to be using is Google Classroom. And what Google Classroom does is it allows the child to go to that one app and access everything else that we are going to have them use that's digital. So there are a lot of other digital applications that they're going to have to use, but everything will be housed in Google Classroom. And it'll be very easy for them to just go to Google Classroom. They'll see the assignment. They can click on a link. Whatever the teacher has planned will be right there. We're going to also continue to use Class Dojo, and a lot of you are already familiar with that because we've used it in the last few years. And that's a way to interact with you, to message you back and forth, post some of the good stuff that's going on with classroom instruction, and also provide some incentives for the children who are doing a great job in their class. We do want to pay close attention to our students with disabilities and make sure that they are getting the services that they are mandated to receive. Ms. Johnson, did you want to talk about that a bit?
Sure. So, I'm sorry. Our students who receive an IEP, they'll continue to receive support, but it will be virtually, obviously. We've identified students who have a high number of specialized instruction hours. Those are hours that they spend with the special ed teacher. Those students, they will receive all of their virtual lessons from the special ed teacher. And then there will be opportunities for students who have fewer hours to spend some time with the special ed teacher as well. And again, we'll continue to provide the speech services, occupational therapy, and support from the school psychologist. And again, please keep in mind, it's all virtual and it will all be through Zoom. If you have any questions about these services, please contact me.
So our schedule includes this. We're going to have parent orientations on Wednesday, August 26th. That will be via Zoom. We're going to have 2, one at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and one at 6:30 in the evening. So, hopefully that will be convenient for you regardless of your work schedule. From August 24th through August 28th, the teachers will plan their meet and greet with you individually via Zoom. So you'll be receiving an invitation from your child's teacher. Our first day of school is Monday, August 31st, and that's via Zoom. And then, as I said before, from August 31st to September 11th, those first 3 weeks of school, your teacher is going to be interacting with your children in small groups, so they will not get the full day of synchronous or the full morning of synchronous instruction. They will get 30 minutes of synchronous instruction in the morning, and then they will have follow-up activities in the afternoon. But then starting on September 14th, we're going to have the entire class all together on Zoom with the teacher to start the full day of 9 to noon, synchronous instruction, and then lunch, and then follow-up activities in the afternoon. Our calendar is posted on our website. So if you want to just take a look at the calendar so that you'll be familiar with the days that we are closed, please check that out on our website. So we realize that in order for this to be successful, it's important that everybody have connectivity and that everyone has a device. I have sent a few emails about Comcast Internet Essentials for any parent who does not have internet connection in their home and is interested in finding out about a low cost service that Comcast provides. If you still need that information, I am happy to send it out again, because we are asking that you please try to get internet connection. Now, what we found out, the Comcast Internet Essentials is a $9.99 a month service. But we learned recently that they are extending free service for those who sign up through the end of 2020. So at least through December, you should be able to get totally free service. And then I don't know what they're going to do starting January 2021, but at most it would be $10 a month. We hope and we ask that if you can, if you have the means, or if you already have something in place for your child to work at home online, we really appreciate it, because we've had a lot of expenses this year with buying safety equipment and actually preparing our school to be safe. And we assume that hopefully at some point we will return to school. So we know that our first priority is health and safety, and we've had to kind of adjust our budget for something that we weren't really prepared for last year this time. And so if you're able to purchase a device for your child, we really, really would appreciate it. However, if you don't have the means to do that, if you know that's going to be a hardship, then we would like you to borrow a device from us. And so on Thursday, August 27th and Friday, August 28th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., we are going to do a drive-by distribution of Chromebooks and laptops. No, that's wrong. It should say Chromebooks and iPads. What we need you to do, however, is to send us an email at the address that's listed here and indicate that you need a device. Write your name and write the names of your children who attend ECA. Now, I know you filled out a lot of surveys, but the surveys are just for us to get a sense of what we might need to purchase. We need you to say via email, I need a device for my child. So the email address is parenthelp@ecapcs.org. Again, put your name on the email and put the names of your children who attend ECA, and the distribution will be the 27th and the 28th of August from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. On those same days, at that same time, we will distribute student supplies. So we plan to give parents tote bags with pencils, crayons, watercolor markers, dry erase markers, small dry erase board, drawing paper, lined paper. Now, again, if that's something that you feel that you can just get on your own, we would greatly appreciate it. But certainly we have this available for all parents who need it. And we plan to distribute monthly. And so we'll give you the date and time each month so that you can replenish the supplies. That's going to be on the same day as the drive-by device distribution. And just a reminder that when you drive by, you must be wearing a mask. So we also need to make sure that we are providing breakfast and lunch for our boys and girls as always. We have been given permission to distribute our breakfast and lunch in bulk. So instead of having to have parents come every day to pick up a breakfast or pick up a lunch, we're only going to distribute 2 days a week, every Monday and every Thursday, and you will get the lunch and breakfast for a period of time until the next distribution. So every Monday, you will get the lunch for Monday, the breakfast and lunch for Tuesday and Wednesday, and the breakfast for Thursday. And then on Thursdays, you will get lunch for Thursday, breakfast and lunch for Friday, and Monday's breakfast. So you only have to come twice a week. Instead of getting small containers of milk, you will get a quart or a half gallon or whatever would be comparable to the small containers. And so some of the items will be in bulk. We also will have some items that can be served, that can be warm. They'll be in a container that you can put in the microwave, so that we will have days when the children will get hot lunches. So one of the major requests that we have for you this school year is to stay in communication with us. And as you know, our communication is going to be electronic. So it's really important that you check these various ways to find out information that we need you to have. Your email address, I believe we have most of the parents' email addresses now, so that's great. If we don't have yours, if you haven't been getting email from us, then let the front office staff know, Ms. Parker or Ms. Seabrook, so that we can add your email address to the database. If you gave us your email address and you haven't been getting any email, it may be because we may have transposed two of the digits. Something might be wrong in the way we recorded it. So if you haven't gotten any information from us via email, contact the main office so we can make sure we have the right email address for you. Your child's teacher will probably communicate with you most via cell phone. We communicate with you, the administrative team communicates with you via text on your cell phone. So again, it's really important to have that we have those numbers. We will use Dojo, Class Dojo. Google Classroom has a communication feature that we will use. We've got a great big, beautiful sign out in front of the building now that was installed back in the spring. And so we will change that so that you can learn about any new information as quickly as possible. We always post on our website, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We have a fabulous media and marketing manager, Jasmine Shannon, who does all those beautiful Facebook and Instagram posts that you see in those photos. And that's all Jasmine Shannon. She does that, and she does a marvelous job. She just recently posted a picture of Miss Heath, who's one of our pre-K teachers, who has taken her living room in her home and converted it into a pre-K classroom. It's so nice, and we just know the kids are going to feel good when they get on a Zoom call with her and see her looking like she's just in her classroom. If you haven't seen those photos, then look on our Facebook or on our Instagram page. So we just need you to please always make sure we can reach you, because this year, more than any other year, we have got to stay in electronic communication with you. Ms. Johnson.
Good evening, ECA. As Ms. Edwards introduced us all, I'm not one of the young ladies that you would see at our front office, but I am delivering a message for them. And if you have not completed the mandatory online portion of registration, it is imperative that you do so right after this meeting. The way that you can get to that online registration is go to our ECAPCS.org website. On our website, go to the parent portal or the parent drop down, and it says enrollment. So in the enrollment section, there are two things as you scroll to the middle of the page that you have to look for. One, if you are new to ECA, you will see a blue new student registration button. That'll be where you would click. If you are a returning parent, you would please click the red registration that says for returning parents. Again, if you haven't had the opportunity to complete the online registration portion, please do so after the meeting. That way we can ensure that all of our students are included on our rosters, and you'll be able to your child will be added to the class list, okay? If you have any questions, contact our front office.
Thank you. Along with that, parents, we ask that you please make sure that any vaccinations that your child is supposed to be receiving, that they still get them. We have one pandemic on our hands. We really don't want to have others because children are not getting their MMR shots or any of the diseases and illnesses that we've been able to basically eradicate, but that we have found in recent years have begun resurging a bit because parents are not getting their children immunized. So we ask that you please make sure you follow your doctor's protocol for their routine of shots. So again, if you need to borrow a device from us, the email address is parenthelp@ecapcs.org. Put your name on the email and also the names of your children who attend ECA. And, some of us need a hand and some of us have the means to lend a hand. And so if you have the means to lend a hand, we would really appreciate a donation of new and unopened student supplies, because we are going to have to replenish these supplies every month. So if you would like to lend a hand to help us with this, then we would appreciate unopened packs of crayons and pencils and markers, unopened packs of drawing and line paper, and grocery store gift cards. So I say that because, there are many people in our community who have lost their jobs. Some of our jobs just went away and not to return. And so we have families who are really struggling and could use the support of our school community. We would love to be able to, if a parent said that they needed some help with groceries for their family, we'd love to be able to provide a gift card for them. So if you would like to donate one, the next time you go grocery shopping for yourself, if you can and just want to buy a $10 grocery gift card for a family in need, then just drop it by the school. We plan to have some sort of receptacle right at the front as you first come in our building, but we haven't put it there yet. But in the meantime, you can drop anything off that you'd like to donate at the main office. So who's going to read the questions?
I will read the questions. All right. Will there be accommodations for children with parents who work full time and are unable to log in with their child some days from 9 to 12?
Yeah, so I, I guess we would have to find out who is going to, be with your child and see if there's some way we can support the person who will be taking care of your child while you work, and getting your child logged on, because the 9 to 12 period is really critical. You can't make that up because it's real time interaction with the teacher. But we can always talk with you, and just, if we find out, like if it's an older relative, for instance, who might be caring for your child while you're at work and you feel that they're not really equipped to help the child, we can see what kind of support we can put in place to make sure your child's still able to get online.
My child's immunization is scheduled for after the start date. Will that be a problem?
No, you follow the immunization schedule that your doctor provides.
Okay, so we have a parent who would like to know if this presentation can be emailed to them.
We always post our presentations on YouTube. So we've had 2 before, and they're posted again. Jasmine Shannon posts them. The 2 before were posted, and this one will be posted as well.
Why are immunizations mandatory during the 100% virtual school time frame?
So the hope and the prayer is that we'll be able to go back to school at some point. We don't want to stay in this mode. We know that this is not the way children learn best, and it's not the healthiest thing for children not to be interacting with other children. So our goal and our prayer is that we end up back in school. But we don't want to be in a situation where we want to go back in school and now we're told, no, you can't accept these children because they have not had their regimen of shots at the prescribed time by the doctor. So you must, continue to keep that up for your child's safety, and also because when we open again, that's what we're going to be required to look at, their shot records.
Can I request my child's teacher?
Yes, I believe most of the parents who had a request already had indicated it. Now, if you have not already notified us that you had a particular request, you certainly can now. I can't guarantee at this point because the classes actually have been made. We're just finalizing some things on them. But go ahead and make the request, and we will certainly do the best we can.
I have a first grader and a third grader this year. Will both kids have the same learning schedule?
Yes, they will. And we will make sure if you do not have a device for each of your children, we will make sure that you can borrow a device for each so that everybody will have their own device. But yes, they will basically have the same schedule. The only thing that will be different will be their PE time and their music time, which is in the afternoon for grades K through 3. For pre-K, it's in the morning, 1 day a week.
Can you confirm the email address for the laptop because it keeps coming back as not valid?
That's a problem. So the address is supposed to be parenthelp@ecapcs.org. Now, if it's coming back, if it's bouncing back, we're going to have to talk to our IT guy and see why. But it's supposed to be parenthelp@ecapcs.org. So we'll check that out to see if there's a problem.
If my child is currently out of state, can they use the health form of the state they are currently in? I don't think so. I think it will have to be DC Health.
Really?
I think so. This is me talking as a mom, trying to remember some things that I've heard, but I guess we'll have to check to be sure.
I just got a message from our front office stating that they have to refer to the Department of Health for DC, and so they would only allow you to submit their documents.
That's what I thought. How will our pre-K 3 children be affected with such limited face-to-face time? Will they be expected to complete some face-to-face assignments? Most parents have to work. Not sure how I will be able to work and be my child's teacher at the same time.
Right. So we know this is going to be a big challenge for our youngest children. A big challenge. I don't know, Falcon, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I definitely can understand that it is going to be difficult to kind of juggle that around. One of the things that we're doing to try to keep younger children engaged is to plan activities that include movement, that include, several ways that the teacher can interact with students synchronously when they're on the Zoom app. And then in the afternoon, there will be times where they can have activities that they can do between the hours, I guess, of 2 and 4, or really 3 and 4, because we want them to have their lunchtime, maybe some activity as in terms of recess, and then for them to nap. So they will have between 3 and 4 p.m. to complete some of that work. And I'm hoping that that would adjust to the schedule. Even if you have to work with them a little later in the evening, we definitely understand. But we did try to build in later in the afternoon where the kids can have some time to work on those activities.
Okay, I'm in the chat box now. If the child isn't scheduled for checkup until after school starts, how will it go? Because their immunization isn't scheduled until fall. Can we answer that?
Yeah, that's fine. Just all we ask that you do is follow the schedule that the doctor provides.
What about the dental forms? Our dentist office has stated that we hold off on routine dental checks due to the pandemic.
Right. I think some parents have been able to get appointment cards indicating that, the dentist will see them maybe in September. So, we know that all of the medical facilities are not in full swing yet. They're taking mostly emergency cases. And so we don't want to use that to keep anybody from coming to school, but we do want you guys to do the best you can to make sure all of those dental and health forms are updated as soon as you can.
Hello, I feel as though my child needs special attention due to the fact that he's so behind. How will I go about getting him an IEP?
So the first thing you want to do is let him come to school so that the teacher can work with him, and let's see how he does. And then if you feel after the teacher has worked with him for a certain amount of time, a few weeks, you still are seeing some deficits concerning to you, then reach out to the teacher so that we plan to meet with the director and the teacher and you and put a plan in place.
Is there a possibility of morning sessions being recorded for review later? That would be a big help for parents who are employed full-time. And there's a couple of questions like that kind of repeat. So if I don't read your question, it's because this one will be answered.
So I understand that request. This is my fear with that. We want our children to be able to have what would as closely resemble school as they can while they're at their homes and the teachers are at their homes. And so that 9 to 12 block is that opportunity for them to talk to their for their teacher to ask them questions and get answers back, to see, for the teacher to see in real time activities that they're doing and correct errors with them while they're doing it. My concern, if we start making recordings just generally available, is that we're going to lose that opportunity with our children, because we're going to have parents who just choose to have the child watch the recording as opposed to being a part of the real-time learning. And that's going to be a huge, huge loss for our students, because they have to have that interaction with the teacher. Otherwise, it's just watching a video. And I really do understand that because of work schedules, it makes it difficult to get your child onto the classroom meeting at 9. It is really important that they have that time with their teacher in real time, and hope that there's a way that you can work that out with whomever you have who's providing that child care for your child during that period.
Pre-K is critical. How will it go with the younger children being on a device for 3 hours? I'm afraid they won't do well with being virtual because they don't really like computer devices.
So pre-K will be on iPads. We feel that that's more appropriate for the age level of 3s and 4s. And so I'm hoping that they will find that a little bit more engaging versus, using a Chromebook, which can be difficult to maneuver for such young students. So again, we have lots of fun and engaging activities, lots of movement activities and ways to kind of get them up so they're not just kind of sitting. And we're really working hard with that in mind, making sure that we are meeting the needs of all learners.
Okay. Will pre-K have a full day schedule? How do I request my child's teacher? So I guess they want to know who would they contact.
They can send requests to me. My email address is my first initial T, last name Ingram at ECAPCS.org. Send your request to me, and we'll do, as Ms. Edwards said, our level best to match your child with the teacher that you've requested.
Are parents going to get the schedule based on how the day is going to go? Yes.
Yes, and we have parent orientation, and that will be part of the orientation to tell you exactly what the schedule looks like.
Oh, I see you answering. Is the school providing these iPads?
Yeah, so again, if you're able, if you have the means to provide a tablet for your pre-K child, it's great. If you need our support, then absolutely we will provide the support. Just email us. I hope that email address works. I just told you. But if it doesn't, we'll give you the correct address. And we'll put you on the list.
Although they will be virtual, will they be required to wear their uniforms?
No, we just require them to get dressed. So we're going to ask that, you don't have them in their pajamas. We like them to be up and have their, t-shirt on and some jeans, but no, we're not requiring them to wear uniforms at home.
Okay. Is it okay if my pre-K3 child does the online portion from 9 a.m. through 12 p.m., but not show up for the 3 to 4 p.m. portion? And can I be emailed the work for the afternoon and work on it with her when I am off work?
So the beauty of the afternoon part is that even though we're saying 3 to 4 for pre-K, you actually don't have to do it at that exact time because it is asynchronous. It will be online. We will explain carefully to parents how to access it, and your child does not have to complete it from 3 to 4. They can do it later on if that works better for you. So for the afternoon, there's a lot more flexibility.
My son has an IEP. How many teachers will he see a day? He will be starting first grade this year. What kind of device will he be given?
Ms. Brown, for some of our students, we've identified if they have high hours of specialized instruction with a special ed teacher, then they will just be seen by the special ed teacher for that support. But all of our students will also be seen by our PE and music teachers as well.
Do you know when they will return to school face-to-face? Unfortunately, that is not an answer that any of us have at this time. We all are waiting to know and praying that, you know, it will be safe when it is time to return.
So as you know, we were fully prepared to return to school on August 31st. We had put all the health protocols in place and purchased screens for the desks and signs for where everyone was supposed to stand. We were ready to come back. And then what happened was, as you know, all of us know, is there's been this horrible uptick in cases and deaths, unfortunately, even in close jurisdictions like Maryland. I'm not sure what's going on in DC, whether there's been a continuous uptick, but for those reasons, it was determined, and I think rightly so, that we have to get a better handle on flattening this curve before we feel like it's a safe thing to bring our children into an enclosed space with 12 people in the room. So again, you know, we don't want our children to have to be at home learning virtually all year. We know it's not the best way to learn, and the can do is see what happens in October, start looking at what the trend is looking like. Does it look like we may be able to get back in school? Even though, I mean, just be prepared, because even if we are able to open in November, it will most likely be that hybrid model that we had talked about before. They may not be able to come 5 days a week.
When can we expect for children to be connected to a speech therapist again?
Hi, Ms. Nuts. Typically, services begin the second week of school, but I'll be in contact with you and all of the parents whose children receive services on when they will begin.
Will my child have homework plus their schoolwork from the teacher? Yes. It will be available on Google Classroom, the platform that we talked about in the beginning. Whatever assignments that the teacher posts will be posted there.
So let me just kind of add to that we're not adding another layer of home activity, because everything is kind of homework right now, right? They're doing all their work at home. So we're going to have afternoon activities, and those activities, we're asking that they are done from about 2 to about 4, but as one parent pointed out, that time period didn't really work for her, and so that can be done later. But those are done without the teacher. That would take the place of a homework, you know, what we know as a homework activity, and it can be done that evening at whatever time is most convenient for your family.
Okay, there are no more questions in the Q&A. I have to go over to see if there's anything else in the chat. How is attendance being monitored?
Attendance will be monitored in the morning during the synchronous learning period, the period where the teacher is working with the children. We'll monitor it. The children are to arrive at 9. We'll have a grace period for the children to get in, because we know there can be glitches when you're trying to get your child online. But after a certain point that we haven't really determined yet, the child will be marked tardy. But that's the period that we take attendance, first thing in the morning, 9 o'clock.
That is the last question that I see. Oh, how will you handle sick days?
So it would be handled the same way. If your child is ill, then you just contact the teacher and let him or her know that your child is ill so that we can mark your child excused absent.
I see a comment from Ms. Johnson
And you,
about your request for getting your child an IEP. I'm going to suggest that you reach out to Tiffany Johnson, who is our special ed coordinator, who's been speaking tonight. Her email address is tjohnson@ecapcs.org. First initial, last name at ecapcs.org. So reach out to her, and she'll be able to walk you through this process.
You think we got them all?
That's coming out. When will I know who is my child's teacher? I think we said the 21st of August.
Next Friday.
Can you post the email, please? Let me see.
Parent help one?
Yes.
8 Johnson. That went away.
Yeah, can somebody just put the parent help email in the chat?
Yeah, I think somebody's typing it for the iPads.
So someone did say they would love for their child to still receive homework, but just keep in mind that these are afternoon activities, and if you would like to have your child do some, earlier and then do some later on, that's fine. That being said, if you feel like your child isn't getting enough afternoon work and needs some additional work, I'm sure your child teacher would be happy to provide that.
That is it so far on my end.
Okay, so thank you again, parents, and we will definitely be in touch because things are always changing. But make sure you, if you're not getting our emails, please make sure you check in with the front office so that we can get your correct address. If you have any questions, if anything pops in your head after we get off of this call, please feel free to reach out to any of us. Mr. Ingram gave his email address, and the email addresses are basically just first initial, last name at ecapcs.org. So mine is wedwards@ecapcs.org. We are happy to respond to any questions that you may have. Thank you so much and have a good evening.